do a couple more examples here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn live Boolean off. I'm going to hold down Alt and tap this large cylinder here. And let's go ahead and we'll hit Shift D to turn on our dynamic preview here temporarily. I'm going to go to my Z-Modeler brush, BZM, hover over an edge, and we're going to do Insert Single Edge Loop here. And we'll just go ahead and put an edge loop in here. Now if I want to, I can go ahead and say bevel this edge loop complete like this, and then Q mesh polygroup all and push this back and just like model a cutout thing here, but it won't be interactive, and it'll be a lot of work if I want to make changes to this on the fly, depending on what I'm trying to accomplish here. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this single edge loop here. I'm going to hold that Control Shift, and again with our visibility, just grab this outside one here. If you want more information on these simple ZBrush, kind of beginner ZBrush things, go to my YouTube channel, Intro to ZBrush Part 1. That'll get you up and running. So we've got this open edge here. I'm going to go to our stroke menu here, and we'll go ahead and do like say a curve function. We're going to curve our open border here. So we're going to frame our mesh with a curve. And now if I hold down Control Shift and bring everything back, I've got a curve here. So now I can go to Brush, Insert, BC, Brush Curve, and we'll just take our standard curve tube brush here. And if we just touch this curve, it's going to put a curve tube right on there. If you want to make the curve bigger, you can just shrink it down, your brush size down and move it in, or change your brush size up and tap it, and there you go. So now we've got a curve on here. If I don't want to keep that curve, I can just tap away from the curve, it'll delete it, or just go to the curve functions, delete. Now we have a separate mesh here. So again, let's go ahead and just do our split masked points. Now we've got it in its own subtool. It did pop us out of the start group here. So what I'm going to need to do is, number one, I don't want this to be its own start group, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to move this down. Oops. Select it, do the bent arrow down, that'll move it into this start group, and then I can do it subtractive, and now I can make this a live Boolean, turn off polyframe, and now it's cutting in my mesh. If I go over here to deformation, I can inflate this up or down if I want, like so. So I can inflate it, deflate it, and on the fly it'll go ahead and change. And I can go ahead and use modeling tools to go ahead and change this as well. So I go into polyframe mode here, let's go into solo, and on this inside ring, what I can do is I go to my Z-Modeler brush, BZM, and I can hover over this edge right here and hold down spacebar, go to polygroup, polyloop, and just tap this one, take our Q mesh polygroup all, and just pull this in like so. And now when I turn polyframe off and then go out of solo mode here, you're going to see as I'm modeling this, I'm getting even more complex shapes in here. Let's go back into solo. And let's say we want to ease these transitions here. So I can go along this line here. We can go to bevel edge loop complete, and we can go ahead and bevel this one, and then just tap these ones to get the exact same bevel. And I can also hit D, and it's going to ask me, do I want to activate dynamic subdiv? Say always yes. And now when I go into solo mode here, turn off polyframe, I'm getting a much nicer, softer transition on those cuts. And of course, it's still working with this faceted because I turned dynamic off on my original cylinder here. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, hit D to turn that back on, and then I've got a much nice, everything looks a lot nicer here.